Clemson.
I am Gray Thompson. You are listening to the Gray Zone podcast. We're coming to you from King Tut Grill today. What a great place to be here in Simpsonville, South Carolina. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm joined by Georgia Matt McGahee. Did I say that right?
Yep.
I was asking Georgia. It's Georgia with a J?
Georgia. Georgia.
We are brought to you by the IonGreenville.net app. FET Greenville Magazine, the #1 magazine in town, comes out every Wednesday now. It's all digital. It's all free. It's all right. IonGreenville.net. Go there, do your college football pick'ems. Matt, you doing your pick'ems on IonGreenville.net?
I have not yet. I am slacking this year.
You know, there's still plenty of time to do it, and I recommend it because you're good at this stuff.
So I'll be like every other listener out there, and I'll be slacking, and then I'll just jump right in, right?
No. Because honestly, I'm doing great. I never do great at the beginning of the season. I'm doing really good. I'm not in the lead.
So FET Magazine's the #1 magazine in Greenville?
I call it the #1 magazine on earth, but yeah, it's certainly the #1 magazine.
So
in Greenville.
Clemson doesn't have a magazine?
Actually, we're working on FET Clemson right now, as a matter of fact. Right. Yeah, not kidding.
I was going to say the Tigers probably have the #1 magazine because they have the #1 ranking in football. So.
Well, when we have FET Clemson magazine, they will.
There you go.
So we've got, you know what? I won't even really go into it except that we're going to have content coming out from Clemson on-site, on campus. It's a good partnership for us. You know, Greenville to Clemson is kind of like Birmingham to Tuscaloosa. You have a major hub for a city. You have a metro area. You have a car manufacturer for a German car company who makes really good luxury sedans. And now they both make the crossover SUVs, I guess, in town. But still, it's funny how similar they are. Both have a really nice lake, too.
Yeah, and Clemson definitely needs more exposure in the upstate, right?
I'm here to help.
I got you.
Yes, but, you know, obviously, the Clemson MBA program at the one building in the center of downtown Greenville, if you're not from around here, you wouldn't know that. The MBA does a lot. They're a sponsor, I think a title sponsor for Downtown Alive. FET Greenville Magazine is also a sponsor. It's a 6-month music series that runs for free on Main Street, where they close a block right in front of the Hyatt downtown at Noma Square. I love it. We've been doing it for years and years and years. I've literally taken, I don't know if you know this, but give me a minute to just tell you, I've literally published more pictures from City of Greenville special events than anybody else ever. And I'm really happy for that, and I owe it all to FET Greenville Magazine. So that's the truth. I love it. Wouldn't have this podcast without Fat Matt. You know what I also wouldn't have?
If you didn't have this podcast without Fat Matt. So.
Fat Matt? I also wouldn't have the opportunity, the benefit, the grace, the miracle that is staring at you in your Georgia hat and Georgia shirt. Get ready for a big matchup at home in Athens with College Gameday and Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish.
Yes, absolutely. I was listening to David Pollack talk about it earlier, and he's really excited about it. They're going to be there. He wouldn't reveal the guest picker.
David Pollack, by the way, former Georgia player.
Defensive end.
I think people forget a lot of these guys played football and who they played for because they don't go rah-rah all the time. But I'm happy for Pollack.
But the real big fans, I think, do know that David Pollack's a Georgia guy. And it's funny because people will call him a Georgia homer, even though when he first started, man, he was picking against us like crazy.
Georgia homer?
Yeah, I don't think he is. I think people like to say that.
He loves Georgia.
Yeah. Well, and then the other people don't know that Maria Taylor also came from Georgia. She was a Georgia basketball player.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I love Maria Taylor.
Maria Taylor is fantastic.
I love Holly Rowe more.
A queen.
I love Kirk Herbstreit the most. But if Holly...
I like the coach the most. Lee Corso is just so fun. I will be so sad the day they announce he's retiring from College Gameday.
They did, and then he came back.
Yeah, I know.
And that was happy. And that's been, 8 years now?
I know.
It's terrific.
Well, and then
a lot of people don't like him.
Desmond Howard, who's a Michigan guy, who I enjoy. Desmond, I don't think he's always right.
A lot of people don't like Desmond.
I like him fine. I think he's a fun character. And I look at them all as being characters, right? They're not really who they really are.
I disagree.
I don't think so. I think they're characters. Like Kirk Herbstreit might not be, and maybe the coach might really be that crazy. I don't know. But it almost feels sometimes like they're somewhat being characters when they're on the show.
A little bit. For one thing, it's live television, so you have to be real careful. But, Corso's head... but he's sworn on live TV. He's definitely had some swear words come out when he shouldn't have. And Desmond said some things he shouldn't have. I think Kirk Herbstreit, like you said, look, personally, Kirk Herbstreit has been a great inspiration for me in my own personal growth. And when I say Kirk Herbstreit, I mean that explicitly. I've literally tried to tailor a lot of my behavior about what I saw from him after the Tattoo-Gate scandal in Ohio State, where eventually he ended up moving to the state of Tennessee. And now his kids are at Clemson. I love the way Kirk Herbstreit thinks, acts, feels, and behaves. I love that he's making money from selling sausage commercials. So
he's definitely classier than most, that you see, and that's good on him for that. And
he's smart, man. That dude does his homework.
My favorite Kirk Herbstreit moment was the time when Lee Corso said that Arkansas shot their wad last week, and the look on Kirk's face was just priceless. Like it was just he was just so shocked and appalled. Like he's like, Lee, dude, what are you doing? It was so priceless.
And we're getting ahead of ourselves. But when Coach is gone,
yeah,
they've got to replace him with somebody. I don't know if you move the Bear in there. And I'm sorry, listeners, that we're kind of going on a tangent here, but
I like the Bear.
That group, especially with Kirk and Coach, is irreplaceable, man. And we're living in a golden age, and it's kind of on its way out, I guess, in terms of the coach.
Let's all pray to the football gods in heaven that they never put Coach Holtz up there. I don't want to see Lou Holtz up there.
He's not even on television now.
I know, but
I actually liked Mark May, and I loved Mark May and Lou Holtz going nuts at 11:30 at night.
You know who they should replace him with?
No.
Mark Richt. Have you seen him on the ACC network? It's fantastic.
A little bit. I know you love him.
Fantastic. Well, no, I don't like him as much as I used to.
No,
I like him as a broadcaster.
Yeah, I know you do. I haven't seen enough of him to have that kind of opinion.
I think he'd be great. So,
where is he doing his stuff?
He's on the ACC network, so he just does.
I don't really watch the SEC network, and I don't mean to be disingenuous. I don't have the channel. I don't really watch TV at home, including college football. I do watch some, especially Pac-12 after dark, which I'll be doing again this weekend.
Get your midnight football fix, right? So.
Well, I'll be doing that Friday. Which game did we say? So hold on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Right, so it's 6 p.m. Western or whatever Pacific time.
Is that the Utah game?
Yeah, it's Utah, number 10 at SoCal.
Yeah.
A repeat rematch of the Pac-12 title game last year.
I think Utah takes that game.
I think this game should be a lot of fun.
I think they're going to win pretty handily.
Why do you think they win? One word?
One word?
Mm-hmm.
This is about USC, so it's one word. Mess. I think USC's still a mess.
I'll give you a word. Defense.
Well,
smile now.
That's fair. I think
Utah has it.
I think that's Gray and I's favorite part of football is the defense and watching. Because it's easy to love the offense. It's easy to love the passing touchdowns. It's easy to love the 12-yard runs, from running back or breakaways. But when you really see like a defense, and I've said this before on the last time I was on, when you see a defense cause havoc, it's so much fun to watch.
The old adage, and I think it was Bear Bryant who said this, but I can't say for sure, so I won't. That defense wins championships. Did he say that? It doesn't matter. Maybe I'm speaking out of my head, but defense does win championships.
I think it's true.
So the more you understand defense, which admittedly public broadcasters don't actually talk about a lot because not necessarily people want to hear about it, and it's a lot more difficult. It's a lot more thinking stuff. It's also a lot more in flux, so to speak.
Yeah, defense, unless you really know what you're looking at, it's not always as pretty as you might. Like me and Gray, obviously know defense really well, and so we really enjoy it. But unless you really get in there and start understanding defense, it's not as pretty as offense for sure. I mean, because offense, you can see the big play and the guy's going to score and it's fun, or get that first down or that really, edge out those tough yards. But with the defense, a sack's a big deal, like everybody knows, or an interception. But those are the biggest exciting plays, right? So. But there's so many other things that happen, like pass breakups or tackles for loss, that don't look all that pretty. But
that
huge.
Is one of the things that gets people excited.
Huge, right?
I remember when I was very young, and I remember learning positional stuff like cornerback and safety, and I didn't really understand the difference. And admittedly, that's not necessarily so different. However, I remember thinking, if you're that good at that position, why would you ever want to do that instead of be a wide receiver? Because what you see a lot of is wide receivers in high school go to college to be defensive backs or safeties. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what they used to say about defensive backs, right? He's a wide receiver that can't catch. So
it's not necessarily untrue.
I know that's not necessarily true, though. I mean, it can be. It can't. I mean, it just depends.
But there's more money to be made, so to speak. And now I've grown to love it. Now I can't not see it. Now I actually sincerely pick 4 teams because I understand the defense, and that's why a lot of money goes to Vegas is because they're not paying attention to defense at all outright.
And they should.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, and in the era, I mean, you're a big Bama guy, so in the era of like Tua and this big passing offense, and Alabama's bread and butter for years has been defense and running the ball, and that's not really. I mean, you're still defense, but you're not really running the ball anymore. So it's like
offense now.
Right.
To be honest, it's
all Tua. It's more offense, and I think Clemson's the same way. I mean, Clemson does have a very good defense. Don't get me wrong. But their offense is still it's still the premier part of their team. It really is. And come on, it is. I mean, you got Etienne, you got Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
no. I wasn't trying to suggest it's not. What I was going to say is they have balance.
They do, but you don't hear people talking about Clemson's defensive linemen. They're talking about Lawrence. They're talking about Etienne. That's what they're talking about. Justin Ross. They're not going to mention the defensive players as much. Now, some guys will, but they're not the guys. You ask the standard fan what player can you name from Clemson? They're going to say Trevor Lawrence or Etienne. They're not going to say a defensive lineman.
Yeah, they are.
No,
let me finish. Because last year, they all knew Dexter Lawrence. We all did.
Yeah, but
and Cleveland Pearl.
But I guarantee you more people knew Lawrence. I guarantee you.
Probably rightly so, but I would argue more people knew guys on Clemson's defense than most
who are
teams
they this year?
Than most fans knew more defense. They've got one of the best guys in the country on the D-line now. It's terrific. We're already going on a tangent. This is why I love doing this with you. Terrific. Okay, we'll get to Clemson in a minute.
Sure.
I've got you on here because you're the most well-read and well-versed and smart Georgia fan that I know personally, who's been to a lot of stuff. You're not going to the Georgia game against Notre Dame for game day,
right?
For excuses to me. You're just some sort of closet fan, bandwagon fan. It's clear.
So my wife is going to have our second child probably on Monday after the game. So like I don't really foresee going down there with her under the threat of potentially giving birth. So like I'm just not gonna, I like to stay alive and not be badly injured in my home, by my wife who might be really angry that I leave at that time.
What an interesting excuse that is.
Yeah, well, it's it's just being considerate of her and everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be watching it. There's no question, man.
I was going to Clemson games in my mom's belly. I kid you not. Every single home game that season in 1978.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. I wish I could remember it. I have to assume that had to influence my personal growth, right?
Well, then why are you a Bama fan then?
I'm a Clemson fan too. Well, that's Dad, right?
So,
long story short. Dad grew up there. My grandmother never lived anywhere else.
So
that was where we spent most of our vacations.
We're hitting another tangent.
Sure.
I
don't care. You got a problem? Call in. Text me. Tweet me at Color of Gray. Okay? Hit me up on Instagram at Color of Gray Studio. Tell me how much you hate this segment and move on and turn it off and whatever. I don't care. I do this for me, Matt.
I know. So do we want to talk Georgia Notre Dame?
Please. Go ahead.
Right. So I will go in. I'm going to give you a couple caveats. First of all,
number 7 versus number 3. Can't beat this.
I am a Georgia homer all the way through, but I feel like I'm somewhat of a realistic homer about my own team. Like there's times where I know we've got problems. Right now, Gray, this team has no problems. It really does. Well, after Fromm, the quarterback's not great, but I mean, what team is? I mean, not many of them, and I think that Georgia's got all the pieces to make a good run here. And I think Notre Dame, after watching them give up over 250 yards of rushing yards against Louisville, and they're ranked 120th in the country in rush defense, I think Georgia can just run this ball all over Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's a little bit misleading because of the teams they played were mostly rushing anyway. Weren't really trying to throw. However, that doesn't mean it's illegitimate. Well, and then Georgia is running outstandingly well.
Well, and then even if you got the run game taken away, our receivers have emerged. The question mark has been answered emphatically by George Pickens, Dominic Blaylock, Demetrius Robertson. I mean, they
keep going. This is what I love. You haven't even keep going. And
so I mean, Kyrus Jackson got hurt, but he's going to be back.
How about Swift?
I mean, you got
him.
Well, you got Swift catching passes. You got James Cook, Dalvin Cook's little brother, catching passes. They're both running backs, but they are catching passes.
Did you know Dalvin Cook had a little brother playing at Georgia? No, you didn't.
You didn't know that. Yeah, and if you did, then you're really paying attention. But most people don't.
You're probably not listening to this podcast for
fun.
And
did you know this? Here's a little fun fact. He's actually leading all of Georgia's running backs with yards per carry. He's at 12.7 yards per carry. Gray.
That's a lot of yards per carry.
Yeah, it is. Okay. It's because we're doing a lot of little trick plays with James Cook that are really working.
Is that it? Or is it because Georgia's played nobody?
Or it could be that Georgia's offensive line is monsters.
And they're playing nobody.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
What? Week 3 is over. Week 4 is when a lot of everybody's playing conference games or Power 5 games.
Except Clemson.
Well, I say everybody, but Clemson has already played
Sure.
2 conference
We
games and
started
an SEC
the season
game.
with a conference game, sir.
Clemson's played 3 Power 5 conference games. Has anybody else done that yet?
I don't know of anybody.
I'm probably out
maybe.
there. I feel
I'm
like
sure
we're
if we
triggering.
looked, we could
I feel
find
like we're
somebody.
triggering everybody who's listening,
Maybe
and I love
Auburn?
it.
I don't
This
know.
was not what I meant to do. But no. Auburn played Tulane last week. So
It's true.
no,
That's
absolutely
fair.
not.
That's fair. Okay.
And now they go to Texas A&M. Let's just go into that.
Which one?
So
Auburn, Texas A&M?
Auburn at Texas A&M, both teams ranked. And again, let's talk about this in a minute. But where is Auburn ranked? I've got it written down here
I
somewhere.
think
Where
they're
is that?
8th. I want to say they're 8th.
Golly, hold on. I got to
Which-
make sure of that.
I'm pretty sure they are. I think it's like 8 and 12, right?
It's 8 and 17.
17, okay.
Texas A&M is ranked 17.
Texas as well. That's right.
Texas A&M is a 3.5-point favorite at home against Auburn,
I don't
the
like it.
number 8
I don't
team
like
in
it.
the country.
I don't like it.
Do you don't like it, or
I
you
don't-
think Texas A&M is way better than Auburn?
I think Texas A&M is way better than that. I mean, a lot of people
Do me a
gotta-
favor.
Sure.
Pick your beer up
Yeah.
and let's make some noise. Yeah, because you're right.
So, here's the thing. I think that A&M played very well against an elite Clemson team. And I think that, you can say, oh, they got that touchdown in garbage time. Maybe they did.
I do say that, by the way.
Well, and it's fair.
That made me sick.
It's fair. But here's the thing. They didn't give up but 24 points to Clemson, which is a feat in and of itself.
Mhm.
I mean, it is, right? So
It
yeah,
might be
their
the best
offense didn't
performance
really
anybody's going to
score.
have defensively against Clemson all year.
I think that's fair because Clemson's schedule, I'm sorry, it's just not very good. So,
But 24 points
however,
to Clemson
I
is
think
impressive.
I think Clemson's going to have an interesting game against South Carolina at the end of the year, though. I think that's going to be a lot more interesting with Helinski there. So, side note, going back. So, Auburn, Texas A&M.
Not fair.
I know, right? I know you want to jump on that like a whatever, but fly on stink. I don't know. So
We are talking about Auburn here.
we
so
have
it's-
the barn rats, right? So, so there's no love for Auburn at this table. In fact, we may call them Alabama Polytech for the rest of the day.
You want the truth?
But-
In a weird way, I love Auburn in a weird way. I love
Is it
Auburn.
like your little brother that just annoys the crap out of you?
You say little brother because that's supposed to be mean and insulting, but I feel like I do love them like a little brother. Like, dude, if you get in trouble, if you need bail money, if you're
And you're
if
gonna
you need to
need
ride
bail money if
home,
you're at Auburn.
like but if an Auburn fan needs help from me or something like that, I'm all in. I don't love the culture. I don't love the offensive
Yeah,
scheme.
but
I
doesn't
certainly
that-
don't love Gus Malzahn, and Auburn is not a great team right now. They do have a
No,
good defense,
their
but they're about
defense
to
is
get
good.
bludgeoned at Texas A&M.
I think so. I think this quarterback that they've got's young, and I don't think he's the answer right now. And
Kellen Mond?
No, Bo Nix.
Sorry, gotcha.
Yeah. I think Mond's a good quarterback. I think he's going to be good for Texas A&M. I think A&M had the unfortunate start against Clemson. I think, had that happen, we'd be talking a lot more about A&M than we are. And I think we're going to talk a lot about them this year because I think they're going to be very significant. I mean, because look who they play. They play Clemson, they play Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
they play Georgia, they play LSU,
What does
they play
that mean?
Auburn.
That
means
means
they
they're
have the
unranked.
toughest schedule in the country, in my opinion.
Well, arguably,
and
sure.
they'll probably end up unranked because of it, even though they may actually be a top 25 team in talent and skill. It's just that they have to play a murderer's row of football games, and I think that's fair. So,
A gauntlet.
yeah, it is. It truly is. And I mean, South Carolina fans are going to have a bone to pick, but I'm going to say, hey, you don't play LSU, and they do. So, and you've already played, and you're going to play A&M, so it's kind of a.
It's funny you mentioned that. I would honestly argue either Texas A&M or LSU have the hardest, but I don't like to.
No, I
judge
I
us.
mean, I think both of those are harder than South Carolina for sure.
It's tough.
And LSU's is tough. I think
And
it
they all
might-
play Alabama. Roll Tide.
Yeah, which
Yeah, I do know. Roll Tide.
who's Alabama again? I don't know.
Say it.
No, I'm
Say
not
it.
gonna
Say it.
I will not say it. No, sir.
Now,
I will say it to my friend and my dad's, who is an Auburn fan. I do say it to him.
we're
to make him
triggering
mad.
everybody else right now.
I love
But
it.
we have to take advantage of this opportunity
let's
to
do it.
trigger each other.
Okay.
Georgia has been better than Alabama in a few games that Alabama has beaten Georgia in.
That is
has determined
without question.
national championship implications.
Without question.
Yep.
I think.
And I will not apologize.
Well, you shouldn't, man. Anytime you get to win a game, you ought to take that and go. I mean, even if you do know that the other team was better, I think sometimes just winning the game is just. I mean, look, it makes you a national champion, right? And one of them, and it makes you SEC champion in the other. I don't think that continues this year. I think Georgia finally is going to get Alabama's goat this year. You don't have a backup quarterback to come in and confuse our defense again. So
interesting parallel. Everybody says Notre Dame's overrated, and they're probably going to lose this week, and we'll get to that in a minute.
What's interesting is everybody's saying that Georgia's going to beat Notre Dame. I can't find anybody who says, oh, yeah, other than a Notre Dame fan, who's going to say, oh, yeah, Notre Dame's going to win this game. I don't find it anywhere.
I talked to Iris Davey yesterday.
That scares me a little bit. Yeah, he's a Notre Dame fan, though.
No, let me finish. Do you know who he said he was going to win?
Georgia.
Yeah.
I know.
It's kind of hopeless.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Chad as well, and he feels the same way. He's a Notre Dame fan. He feels
you have to prepare for a loss in this game.
Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame has a chance here. I'm not trying to be ugly. I just really don't think that.
I think Georgia is simply that complete. I think Notre Dame is sincerely a top 10 team.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Georgia is the most complete team playing football this year. I think so. I think so.
For what it's worth, personally, God, we're triggering everybody today. I put Clemson at number 1 in spite of their mistakes.
I love triggering Clemson fans, though.
Well, I'm still putting Clemson at number 1.
They need it.
I put Georgia at number 2. Right now, number 3 is between Alabama and LSU. I'm going to put Alabama at a slight edge because of Tua and those receivers, and then LSU at number 4. Again, that's 3 SEC teams right behind Clemson. And how many are in the top 10 right now?
So
there's 2 more, right?
Yeah,
Isn't Florida still up there?
I don't know why Florida's in there, but okay.
Well, a lot of other teams have lost. Florida hasn't.
I wonder if Kyle Trask is going to be better than Felipe Franks. I'm not so sure. I mean, he did come in and help him win the game, but I'm not so sure Felipe couldn't have done that.
Well, let's get to that in a minute. We're going all over the place. Let's get back to Georgia because you're Georgia Matt.
Right.
Georgia Matt McGahee. Hosting Notre Dame. Ian Book and the book club are coming to town. The Fighting Irish didn't do necessarily anything super bad on defense last week at home against New Mexico.
I think they blew them out, didn't they?
They blew them out on offense. I think it was the most points they've scored in a long, long time. Here's what I'm getting at. Notre Dame is right on the edge of being elite every year, and everybody says they're overrated, but they're just missing one part. Like one mistake or one quarterback usually seems to be the difference. Ian Book is not elite, but he might be enough to make them competitive. Again, this is probably the best Notre Dame team that Brian Kelly has coached at Notre Dame. However, with that said, that doesn't make them complete. What it does mean is that I would put them right at number 9 or number 10 in spite of how this game goes. But I think Georgia is simply that complete from offense, line play, defense, and special teams. How do y'all still have Blankenship?
He's a fifth-year senior.
He's my age. He's 40.
He's been there forever, right? So, yeah, you got to respect the specs of hot rod.
Respect it? I don't respect it. I love it.
He's a fantastic kicker, man.
It's that
rare
guy.
that he misses anything. I don't know that he's missed an extra point. I know he's missed a couple field goals here and there, but not an extra point.
Now I'm triggered. Missing extra point is a thing we do at Alabama.
That makes Alabama really upset.
It is.
But, usually you score so much it doesn't matter. So, but, against Georgia or against Clemson, that can matter. So,
Alabama hasn't been in a game that's competitive enough where at the end, if it came down to kicking, then that's when you lose. Guess what? Hear me out on this. This is why we have a playoff. Because one of Alabama's best kickers of all time missed 5 field goals against LSU, including 2 in the red zone. That was how they lost at home 9-6, if I remember right, in 2011.
Something like that.
For the rematch that eventually so he ended up making the first 15 points. In other words, 5 field goals against LSU in the national title game that year.
It almost makes you wonder if he wanted to kick those on purpose.
Consistently good. Like imagine if Blankenship finally got in a competitive game where he missed 5 field goals. You would be like, what? No, you never would have put money on it. What you also wouldn't necessarily expect is it to change the entire landscape of the sport. That's what happened with Alabama and LSU in 2011. In my personal opinion, that was the best and most important Alabama team in my lifetime. That was the year of the tornado that tore through Tuscaloosa like a laser and cut down trees, cut down homes. I won't get into all that. That was very sad. I'm kind of stressed out right now just talking about it. But that team had that motivation behind it. And to lose that way at home by missing field goals, I'm glad you don't have to worry about with that with Blankenship. We simply haven't had a better kicker for field goals at Alabama since. Now, J.K. Scott was elite, and he's kicking ass in the NFL right now, but that's tough. That's why Nick Saban's going for it on 4th down. That's what he said this week is if we can't kick better, we're just going to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a blessing for sure. And I don't know what life's going to be like post Blankenship because he's been, there forever. But,
You're recruiting well. You probably have a really good kicker back there.
I think we've already got one lined up, so I think we're all right.
Okay.
But, I think the guy we've got signed right now kicked a 70-yard one in high school the other weekend. So,
This is Kirby Smart's third year. Is that right? Or is it fourth?
I think this is his fourth. Yeah.
So this is his
year.
first full class, correct?
Right. Yep. That should be all Kirby.
Except for Blankenship.
Yeah. The fifth year senior guys. Any of those guys still around?
We got more triggers this week than Smith and Wesson, baby. I'm telling you. I'm here to help.
We're all over the place. But you know what?
Let's keep it simple. What do you think the score is going to be? The spread is 14 points. No. For Georgia.
Oh, 45-17.
So they cover the spread easily?
I think so.
The spread?
I think they're close. I think Notre Dame hangs for a little while because I think that they're talented enough to hang. I just don't know that they're going to make it much past second half.
I think Notre Dame's going to want to try to run. They're not going to be able to. So then they're going to have to throw, which they have been better at. But I do think Georgia's defense is going to get the turnover margin in their favor. 14 points. What is that? This is not meant to sound rude, but 14 points is 2 touchdowns. I don't think it's unfair to say Georgia is 2 touchdowns better. But to bet against that spread, give me an extra field goal because of Blankenship alone. Yeah, I'll take it.
I think we might be 3 or 4 touchdowns better, to be honest.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to be ugly. It's just how we look, man. We just look so elite right now, and Notre Dame they look good, but are they elite? I don't think so.
They're very, very, very good.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
And Georgia, I think, is ready and prepared and amped. And again, haven't been tested yet, but this is a great test. Now, here's my question for you first.
Sure.
Before we go any further, I want to get this out. Georgia, number 3, right? Right on the edge.
Right.
Playing number 7. Is that where Notre Dame is? Yeah, that's what it says here. Georgia wins this convincingly, beats the spread. Let's say they win by 21 points, 24 points, whatever. Do they jump Alabama, who's hosting Southern Miss this weekend? Do they jump Clemson, who's hosting UNC? Charlotte?
Nope.
Okay.
I really don't, because I don't think
they will get some first-place votes.
I do. They may, but I don't think the media believes in Georgia. I think Georgia's going to have to beat Alabama. I think they're going to have to Ric Flair it. They're going to have to be the man. They're going to have to beat the man before anybody in the national media is going to give Georgia thoughts of that, because they've seen what Clemson's done. They've seen what Alabama's done. And Georgia has always been close, but we haven't been there. And so until we get there, I don't think they're going to give us that credit.
Clemson said the same thing.
And,
Clemson culture, I should say.
Well, and it's not even the culture. It's just I just think that's the truth of it. I think that's the reality of the media.
No, they say nobody gave us respect until Deshaun Watson beat Alabama by a single score. But we had to beat Alabama to do it. First of all, I don't think that's accurate, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah.
But Georgia is, we said this last year, quietly one of the most elite teams in the country. But that SEC title game is basically the star game for the playoff.
And a lot of people will point at Texas and say, "Oh, look at that Texas bowl game." And I would say, look at. I mean, you could do the same thing for Alabama when they played Utah.
Why did you bring that up?
Well, it's just because it's just what people say. I know they're going to say it, so we'll just go ahead and say it. But I mean, you've got your top 3 defensive players out that were crucial. You've got a game that, after the SEC title, all your goals are gone. Texas had everything to gain by beating Georgia. Georgia had nothing to gain by beating Texas. I think that's a lot of it. People can say those are excuses, and I can say, well, sure, but that's the reality.
That's okay.
But it's the reality of the game.
It's true. And so, I'll say this, as a fan of the sport, I loved that game. I'm sorry that you lost, but
me too.
Texas playing out of their minds. Sam Ehlinger is a little bit transcendent for that program. I loved the game. I didn't love the result because I do love Georgia more than Texas, but that was exciting, and I think people misinterpreted that game for the wrong reasons.
It wasn't for me. My gut was torn up all the time. So
yeah, I hate it for you. I hate it for you. I think Texas was, at least the fans and the culture, maybe prepared for it.
I was just kind of done after the SEC title. I almost didn't watch it because I was just like, you know what, let's just move on. So anyway,
let's go back to Auburn at Texas A&M.
Fun.
The spreads has Texas A&M wins by 3.5 points.
I
guess you get that because it's at home. I think people are way, way, way overestimating Auburn.
Yeah, I think people are confused by Auburn beating Oregon. I think that's put kind of some confusion into it. I think real football people who really pay attention, like you and I and other people similar to us, will realize that no, A&M should win this game fairly. I think 10 points or more personally. I don't think it'll be crazy, but I think it's going to be a lot more than 3.
Auburn played and beat Tulane last week. Pretty good.
And
Tulane is hosting Houston, but Tulane is favored by 5 points, I think, because of Auburn explicitly. However, Houston's a way better team.
Yeah.
Auburn is ranked, where did it go? 8th, is that right?
8th. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is too high.
It's not accurate, is my thing.
It's not.
Okay? It's simply not
I
accurate.
think you could be more accurate switching A&M and Auburn's rankings. Honestly.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's more accurate to flip them.
I agree.
And honestly, Auburn might actually be worse than that, but I'm not sure. Because nobody's really good. It's hard to tell who's actually good so far. I think we'll know better by the midseason, but right now, there's a lot of people where I'm like, they might be good. I don't know. So
I think there's a ton of good teams, and good is good. And I'm okay with that, and I love to watch good teams.
I'm not sure Auburn's one of them.
The tricky part is trying to determine who's elite. And I think a lot of people are confused that Auburn has an opportunity to be elite, and it's not accurate.
I think elite's easier. I think you've got the top 3 of Alabama, Georgia, and Clemson, and then I think you've got other teams which are close and look really good, like Oklahoma, Ohio State looks good with Justin Fields. I don't know that they are. It's hard to tell, but they might be. So
I'm here to tell you they're complete. We'll get to that later.
I mean, they are.
They're really good.
But, what happens when Justin Fields has to read a defense? I don't know. He hasn't had to so far. This guy's been wide open. I've been paying attention. They're wide open.
Who do they got this weekend?
I have no idea.
Ohio State, number 6 in the country, plays Miami of Ohio.
Ben Roethlisberger's home school there.
39.5-point favorite. I will take it. Cincinnati, who did not score a single point against Ohio State, and now Miami of Ohio, who they beat last weekend, is going to
You'll
Ohio
take
State.
it because Ohio State's been putting points on everybody they play.
But they're doing it in a good, fundamental, solid, complete way. Ryan Day is an exclamation point for that team, like I expected him to be. They are legitimately competitive. I think by the end of the season, Ohio State might be ranked ahead of even Clemson, but certainly some other teams. Well, okay, right now they're number 6. How low are you going to take them if they beat Wisconsin and Michigan, et cetera, and win the Big Ten, and they're undefeated, and they do it by, 40, 45 points a game?
So this is assuming that that Alabama and Georgia have already played in the SEC title? Because then I could put them in the top 3, but outside of that, I will not put them in the top 3.
I didn't necessarily say top 3, but I will say you assume too much. You assume Alabama is going to play Georgia for the SEC
title. It could be LSU,
again.
you're right.
It could be LSU. And whoever wins that game, especially if any of them are undefeated to that point, I think has a strong argument and likely argument in the College Football Playoff Committee's rankings for number 1.
And I'm going to be honest with you. If I was an Alabama fan, I would be scared to death to play LSU the way they're looking right now.
You're talking to one. I don't get scared. I get prepared. I'm always prepared to lose to LSU.
Your
and then
butt's going to clench, though,
sure.
Right?
Oh well, they're legit. They've finally evolved a little bit.
I don't want to play them.
They were so reluctant to evolve with Les Miles. Now Les Miles goes to Kansas, and guess what? He's beaten everybody.
And
Kansas has
funny.
a good game this weekend too, don't they?
We talked about this before, but
West Virginia at Kansas this weekend.
Les Miles seemed like the perfect head coach for LSU until we got Coach O. And Coach O's way more perfect than even Les Miles was.
Les Miles was so perfect. I didn't think you could have a more perfect cultural fit.
But Coach O's better.
He is better. That's what's crazy.
I'll get Coach O's over there with the boys. They're going to win against Alabama. You just wait.
That's actually really good.
I've been working on it.
You just got to talk down here.
I love the hot sauce and talk like this.
I use some hot sauce on that.
Good job.
I think I just derailed Gray.
They've had dudes forever, and they just refuse to evolve on offense, and now they have. LSU is legitimately competitive. So let's put it this way. LSU, oh my gosh, let's literally think about this. If they beat Alabama at Alabama, which is not disingenuous to suggest, now they're undefeated going into Georgia and beat Georgia in Atlanta. I have a real hard time saying that they aren't, but won't be ranked number 1 by the playoff committee. They will be ranked number 1. And you're going to have to deal with that.
If LSU beats Alabama and Georgia, they're going to be number 1.
They're going to be ranked
Clemson,
number 1.
you're going to have to deal with that, but they will legitimately be.
We will all have to deal with that because that means Ohio State, that means Oklahoma. Nobody else will compete for it.
I'll be crying in the closet, so because I don't want to lose the SEC title again.
Can we cry together?
Maybe. No spooning, Gray.
I make no promises. Let's go down the list real quick of the games we got. So we mentioned Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, Utah at SoCal.
Yep.
We also Utah.
Utah.
I'm going Utah for sure. Utah is favored by 4 points. 4 points.
4?
So that means a touchdown, right? 'Cause
That
it's
line
not a field
feels like
goal.
it should be 10.
If it's 2
It
field
does.
goals, give me that.
Sure. That's easy money.
You're right. The line should be 9,
should be 10.
maybe 10. No, but I'm taking Utah. Good.
I think 9 is a good number.
Okay. Air Force at number 20, Boise State, who's 3-0. It's an 8.5-point favorite.
I think Air Force is 2-0, right?
Good question.
I like that. I mean, listen, I like any of the service teams. Like,
They
I
won
always
last
want them
weekend.
to do well, you know.
Okay.
But Boise State, I mean, we saw what they can be against Florida State. We saw them really.
Did you? Because you saw it with a true freshman. So
right,
you didn't.
but I mean, they're getting better every week,
That's
and
my
I
point.
think they're improving. And I think
their
that
ceiling is climbing ever higher.
you know, Florida State was the benefit of a lot of big plays that really went their way. And Boise State, once they kind of got their feet wet, they settled in and they just took care of business. I mean, so I think Boise State's a good team. I think they're going to beat Air Force. As much as I'd like to see the service team win, I think Boise State wins.
They're going to win, but 8.5 points to Boise State.
I don't have an opinion.
18.5 points, and I'd take them. Go Broncos. Let me have it. Boise State all the way. Okay, moving on. Southern Miss at Alabama. The spread is 38.5.
The Fighting Brett Favre's.
That's exactly right. Brett Favre played for Southern Miss. I think he was on that. Was he on that team? No, whatever. I'm
Let's
speaking
not
out of
go
my
there.
head, so I won't do it. But Southern Miss has been, I said this yesterday. A lot of people compare, you're either Power 5 or you're not. And if you're not, you're like everybody else. And Southern Miss is simply not one of those teams. But 38.5 means.
It's a lot of points. But, asterisk, with Tua and those receivers, it's highly likely. Because we have not seen anybody yet really be able to handle Tua and those receivers with Tua healthy, with all the receivers healthy, with a healthy Bama team. The problem for Bama is they can't seem to stay healthy. So we'll see.
Lost LeBron Ray last week.
I know.
The only upperclassman defensive lineman for Alabama.
Another defensive loss for
Tragic.
Alabama.
Yep.
And a strong loss too. Not just some guy. Like,
No.
no, this is a dude.
In all sincerity, that's why I have Alabama at number 3 personally. But that's personal. There's plenty of
I
games
think
to play.
that's fair.
Yep.
I mean, you can make an argument for all three to be the top. So it
Sure.
doesn't really
On the
matter.
other side of the coin, speaking of which, Clemson is hosting UNC. Charlotte.
Not that it would really make a difference if it was regular UNC.
It's funny that I bring that up. And
Yeah.
I bring it up for a very deliberate reason.
Sure.
UNC, Charlotte.
Might be better than UNC.
That's my point. I think it's okay to say
Did
that.
I steal it? I'm sorry.
UNC Charlotte is running with a crazy pace, super fast tempo, with a quarterback who can sling the ball. Dabo Swinney said so much this week, and the story became about Dabo bashing the SEC, but that's, again, clickbait. It's not accurate. Citadel held Alabama to the closest score they had all year long last year, and that's the truth.
Ooh, and speaking
At
of the
the half,
Citadel,
anyway.
they beat Tech last week.
How do you feel about that? I noticed you
Another
didn't call them by
Bulldog
name.
team beats Tech. I always love that. There's
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
Especially when it's a triple option, right?
You know, when you beat Tech with the triple option, you've really done something, haven't you?
This is a real question. Is that irony or is that poetic justice? A little bit of both?
I think it's a little both.
Mhm.
But I definitely enjoy the poetic justice of it. And I also love that it's a Bulldogs team winning with a triple option against Tech. How
I see.
weird is that?
I see what you're doing.
How weird is that?
Okay. Redemption, maybe?
I don't know.
Look,
I don't
anyway.
know about redemption.
Let me see if I can find this. I didn't see the spread for Clemson against Charlotte.
It's really big.
Why don't I have it? Oh, it's 41.5. So roughly the same as Alabama. 38.5 for Alabama, 41.5 for
cover.
Clemson.
I think they cover.
Clemson is playing Charlotte at home at 7:30 p.m.
Oh, forget it.
How did they manage to make that happen?
Don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Are they on ABC?
It's Radakovich. Clemson has the trifecta with the coach, the AD, and the entire athletic department staff and the president all getting along well together and with the boosters. They wanted more night games and fewer noon games. I don't know how they got Charlotte at night at 7:30 on the ACC network, except that it's because of the ACC network,
I bet
right? It has to
Tennessee's
be.
jealous of that situation. Their situation up there is pretty toxic. But anyway,
Did you really mention Tennessee? I
Yeah.
just finished eating, bro.
I know.
Oh,
That's going to sound terrible on
oh
the
my
podcast.
God. I'm okay with it. Yeah, well, you already said Tennessee. Don't
Hey,
blame
well,
me.
I mean, you know.
Tennessee holding Chattanooga, in-state quote-unquote rival, Chattanooga to 0 points.
They put up your favorite number.
Yeah, but more to the point, now Tennessee goes to where?
Florida?
Florida.
Yeah, they got to
Okay.
go play in the swamp.
Florida is ranked number 9, if I remember right.
Does
Yes.
somebody have to win that game?
You can call it winning, so yes.
I mean, can a meteor just fall in the stadium?
I think it's better to say who loses less. How about that? Okay.
Like, that's the one game where, like we were talking about in the previous podcast, that our butt clenches for one team. My butt does not clench during that game at all because I just don't want either one of them to win. I don't.
I'm glad that we're here before Georgia and Notre Dame play, and the same weekend that the team that I hate the most plays the team that you hate the most.
It's true. It's very fair. Speaking of teams we hate the most.
Go on.
I think we have a haters segment coming up a little later, right?
We can do it right now if you want.
Do it now?
What
Let's
do you
do it
hate?
now.
Give me something you hate about the sport of college football right now.
About the sport or just in general?
Just say it. Go with it.
I hate the Florida Gators.
Oh.
I hate them.
Wow.
I hate their culture.
Mm-hmm.
I hate their jean shorts.
I'm listening.
I hate their chain wallets. I hate their mullets. I hate their attitudes.
Yeah.
They're like meth. They've only been playing since like the early 90s, really good football, and they've got the same extreme highs and extreme lows of meth. They're like meth.
They're like crystal meth.
Yeah, they're like crystal meth.
I think you like crystal meth more than you like Florida.
I think that might even be fair.
It ruins entire generations of children.
But so does Florida.
I was talking about Florida.
Oh, okay.
I know you hate
Not that we
them.
want to joke about drugs here. But
Well,
anyway.
Felipe Franks is going to need drugs because he got broken against Kentucky
He's
on
not
the
going to play
road.
this season again.
I guess
He's
not.
done.
I can't remember what they said the actual injury. It looked like it was his whole leg in live play.
It
That
looked
was
like he
awful.
broke it. I mean, they said it was an ankle injury, but you know.
I normally I get upset and frustrated with the camera crews when they don't show what's going on, but they were showing Felipe Franks screaming and writhing in pain, and I remember thinking, why are you showing this? It's like a panda bear with a raccoon in there.
Franks
just
is
tearing it
like
apart.
he's got the
It's
attitude
awful.
of Baker Mayfield without the talent.
Who does?
Franks. I mean, I feel bad that he got hurt.
That's a good comparison.
But
Baker Mayfield.
he's like Baker Mayfield's attitude without the talent.
He picked the wrong
He
school.
has nothing to back it up. So,
He picked the wrong school, and when I say the wrong school, I mean if you pick Florida, it's
well,
the
if
wrong
anybody
school.
picks Florida, that's the
There
wrong
you go.
school.
I'm playing into your narrative here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, and Florida fans, I just saw last night on their message boards, they're getting worried that Georgia's going to steal their top recruit for the 2020 class and Gervon Dexter. That could very well happen. So, like, listen, anytime I get to see a Gator cry, it's a good thing. Like, I went to Jacksonville last year.
My God.
It's fantastic just watching them just lose all hope when we stuck the dagger in.
Florida's a 14-point favorite. How do you feel about that?
I mean, as bad as Tennessee is, that feels right. I wish they could both lose somehow, but you know, I think they're both going to be in the cellar of the SEC East for a while. So, I mean, and that's the thing. Like we talked about, who's number 2 in the SEC East? I really have no idea. I know it's not Vandy, and I know it's not Tennessee, but outside that, I don't know. Like, is it Kentucky? Is it South Carolina? Is it Missouri? Is it Florida? I don't know.
In all sincerity, I feel like you do know and haven't taken the time to think about it. We'll know more this weekend, but I think it's South Carolina.
It could be.
But they're distant.
I'm on the edge with South Carolina, Missouri. I want to see what they do this weekend, and that'll kind of tell me. So let's move on from Florida. Let's do your hate. What do you hate?
Oh, gosh. I haven't actually thought about this much, but let's put it this way.
Go with your gut. What do you hate?
I hate overreactions. I hate the fact that now that we have football, that everything gets over-scrutinized, and all we wanted all offseason was, we kept saying it, especially towards the end, just give me football. And now you have it, and we've already almost gone through an entire month. We've gone through 3 games. That's a quarter of the season. And people aren't taking advantage of it. They're not savoring it. They're not loving.
Piggybacking on that, I think what you really hate is you hate the people who beg for football and then complain about it and about what they've seen and about what's happened, and that overreaction of, well, it should have been this way or it should be this way, and like just enjoy it. Like stop nitpicking and just enjoy. I mean, I know we're doing a podcast where we're nitpicking, but you know what I'm saying? We're enjoying it, though. That's my point.
More to my point, I would say that we have more examples of better quality fundamental football than we've ever had from coast to coast.
Now, we've got a lot of messes, too, but that's college football.
But we're still all looking for the top 4 teams instead of enjoying the top 9 teams. And what happens is you get to 9 or 10 and you say that team's way overrated and this is just conspiracy and blah, blah, blah.
Stop saying people are overrated. We don't know who's rated.
What you really need to do, what I hate is, this is what I hate, is that we're not enjoying the sport prospectively. That we're so disproportionately upset and frustrated and conspiracy theories with so many things, rather than just sitting back and enjoying that we have more people making good, solid, fundamental tackles and catches and schemes than we've ever had before, more talent than we've ever seen in the sport.
You know what the problem is?
Go on.
College football is basically a religion. And each team is your version of that religion or your religion, period. And I think people are so invested in that I think it's hard for them to look logically at other teams or logically at results because they have to believe that they're correct, And,
I get that.
And I think that's a lot of it. And I don't think that's an excuse. I'm just saying I think that's what causes and drives a lot of it. And most people don't sit back and take the time to analytically look and say, who is good? Who is not? Is my team really as good as I think they are? Are they worse? And I'm willing to do that. You're willing to do that. And
this is why I hate it, though, because more to that point, we have one of the best examples of how not to judge teams against that way in College Gameday. College Gameday celebrates all of these teams.
Yeah.
We watch College Gameday at North Dakota State University, right?
Sure.
With a quarterback who ends up taking his pro team to the Super Bowl in year one and then gets hurt, but whatever. My point is, College Gameday is such a great example of how to enjoy the entire sport, and it's like nobody pays attention in spite of the fact that so many of us are watching. That's where I get frustrated. That's why I hate the narrative when everybody can't wait 24 hours after a big win to just have fun in this season now that we have actual football. You know what I really hate, Matt? I hate January. I hate when it's over. I hate when football is farther away from starting than it was when it finished. I can't stand it. And we need to celebrate every single Saturday and every Sunday to enjoy what we just saw.
You know what I love about College Gameday?
Go on.
The guest picker.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not last week, by the way.
Oh, no.
That was awful. Eric
Matthew
Church.
McConaughey, though.
Wasn't it Eric Church?
Matthew McConaughey is a great
It was
guest
2 weeks
picker.
ago. He's
Yeah,
terrific.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm
He's
partial
great.
to him. But
All right.
But Eric Church is a North Carolina guy.
Yeah, who
No, and when I
cares?
say North Carolina, I mean it literally. I mean a Tar Heel guy.
I know.
They flew him from his tour on the Eastern Seaboard to Ames, Iowa, to wear sunglasses and stare straight down and do a terrible job picking. Hopefully he's never on College Gameday. And I mean, no disrespect, but that was bad.
So this is my guess for this
Give
week.
me Katy Perry,
So this is my guess for this week.
please.
I think it's going to be Goldberg. I think it's going to be Bill Goldberg, who played football for the University of Georgia. Most people don't know that.
Speaking of which, I got to say again, we're here at King Tut Grill in Simpsonville, owned by Warner, great host, former Georgia alum, and
wrestler. Yeah.
Can I say
He was-
all-star? I don't even know
he
if
was
it's true, but
he was there when Herschel was there, so that's always a really cool thing to have to say. I went to classes at the same time Herschel did. So
let me ask you a question out there, listener.
Yeah.
Do you like pork? It's the miracle meat. Do you like smoked meats? Do you love chicken wings? Me too. Come out here and get some grilled, smoked. Let me just say it. I just had the wings. I'm a wing guy, so let me finish. Smoked wings are my personal favorite. I don't like to use the word best, so I won't. Yeah, but he was just telling me. Warner told me. What they do is they smoke the wings, which is great. Well, usually when you smoke your wings, you get slimy
it gets
skin.
rubbery. Yeah.
They put it on the grill to crisp them up. It's almost fried crispy, but they're these giant, not
But they're
frozen
smoked,
wings.
and they got that smoky flavor.
So I just ate 10 of them, and my mouth is watering again talking about them.
Almost
I got
some more.
goosebumps. So we're glad to be here.
Yeah, it's a great location.
We're paying for our food. So that
Yeah,
has
yeah,
nothing to do with
We're
any
not-
of this.
yeah.
This was a nice surprise. This was literally a surprise. We came here because it's close to your house. So thanks again for doing this.
Sure.
We didn't know that the owner was a Georgia dog,
Had no idea.
and I'm glad that we found out.
I
Moving
had
on.
Yeah.
We've done with what we hate. Now I just did what we love, right? You
Yeah.
want to give me something you love about the sport? Because chicken wings goes with every Saturday in the fall.
I love recruiting.
I know
I
you do.
love recruiting.
I
Like
don't.
it's so much fun for me because like it's the lifeblood of a program, And the thing is like I can't have college football all year as far as games, but I can have recruiting. And so like that's kind of what keeps me going in the off season is following recruiting really closely. Like I know about guys for 2020 that I'm sure you've never even heard of yet, but you will, and that's the fun thing.
No, I haven't heard of them. You know why? Because they're all playing for Clemson. They're all signed to the Tigers.
Not so fast, my friend.
Okay. What are y'all?
Georgia's going to have a pretty good class this year, and
They're going to have a great class in second place, right?
Well, maybe not.
Maybe you
maybe
think they're
not.
Maybe going to be first.
We've got a lot of 5 stars, on the hook, so we'll see.
That's true. And
I
you're
mean,
still going to be second.
We could end up being first for sure.
Okay.
They've got more 3 stars right now, and we could actually outsign them in 5 stars. So
I'm glad
it's
to hear you
possible.
say
It's
that.
gonna be close. It's gonna be close.
I disagree, and it's incidental. But you follow.
But I follow it
admittedly,
more than you.
You definitely follow it more than I do. So
Right.
maybe I'm making a bad bet, but
Well, you tend to do that, but no, I'm just kidding. Not always.
I just actually
Not on his pick'ems, but
pretty good about
when
that.
it comes to recruiting, yeah, he's not going to beat me. So
When it comes to recruiting, I feel like it's safe to bet on Clemson right now. That's all.
Oh, no. I mean, they've done a great job this year. I mean, last year they weren't, though. They weren't as good as they had been last year. In fact, all their talent right now really sits in that sophomore class. I mean, they do have talent. Don't get me wrong. They've got talent in their freshman class. They've got talent in their junior class. But really, the majority, the lion's share of Clemson's talent is in that sophomore class with Lawrence. And I think you're seeing it on the field. It's playing out, right?
And Hunter Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, I mean.
Who left?
Yeah, well, he's gone. But anyway.
I'm trying to. Who does Northwestern play this weekend? Where did that go?
Northwestern?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Northwestern?
Well, I mean, that's where Hunter Johnson's playing right now.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Michigan State at Northwestern.
Ooh.
Michigan State favored by 9.5.
You know, I like Michigan State a lot, and a lot of it has to do with their defense, man. I just really enjoy watching Mark D'Antonio's
So are you
defenses.
taking Michigan State 9.5
Is it at Northwestern?
at Northwestern?
Taking the points?
Mhm.
I'll take them straight up. I'm not sure if I'll take the points. Because Michigan State plays these low-scoring games, and I just don't see it.
Say it. Say it on the podcast. You taking Michigan State to 9.5 or not?
Not.
I'm taking Northwestern in this game outright.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The last two games, they've
Is it
lost.
because of Hunter Johnson?
It's because he's thrown a pick or a turnover at the very end of the game that was tight. And both of those were winnable. It wasn't like they were getting blown out.
Yeah.
Now it's at home, and he's just getting started.
But
and Michigan State is really not good. They lost to a really bad team. They scored a lot against another really bad team who lost to Georgia State, who beat Tennessee. Like, everything goes weird.
Yeah.
And again,
I mean,
it's week 3.
I see your point.
But 9.5 is way too much. Northwestern, maybe I'm hopeful.
Maybe I'm just too high on. I don't know.
I'm hopeful. And
I just always
enough.
I want Michigan State to do well. I
Good.
just always want them to do well.
Pretty colors.
Well, and my cousin's
green.
wife is a Michigan State fan, so I always
Oh,
like
now
to-
it makes sense.
might be part of it.
Kind of like your bandwagon Georgia Bulldog fandom, okay?
Okay.
Look, I remember that you're not going to the game this week, and I don't care. I don't even care.
Are you in Tuscaloosa this week?
For what?
That's what I thought.
For
I went to Murray State. Don't get off my back.
okay. I was there for Nicholls State, by the way, for Kirby
Listen, I'm not
Smart's
paying
first home game.
$1,000 for a ticket unless we're going to the title, man.
Yeah, that's another thing. You need a loan officer to
Jeez
go to a home
Louise.
game at Georgia against
I'm
a
gonna have
ranked
to pawn
opponent.
everything I own to go to the Georgia game this
I don't
week.
recommend it. All right, who else we got? Number 23, Cal at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is favored by 2.5.
You said Cal?
Mm-hmm. California.
The team that just beat Washington a
The
week or so
best.
ago? Against Ole Miss?
Mm-hmm.
I take Cal.
Well done.
I take Cal.
You know why? One word?
Because Ole Miss is trash.
It's the same word I used before. I just want to hear you say it.
The same word.
One word.
Defense?
Thank you. It shouldn't be that hard for you to conjure up that word as a Georgia
No.
fan, Matt. You bandwagoner.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Ole Miss, not great. 2.5. That's basically saying that you're thinking it's going to be even at home, but it's not. I think Cal wins this game.
We're going to have to change the land shark to the minnow because their defense is terrible.
All right, that's enough. Number 6, Ohio State hosting Miami of Ohio at home. Favorite 39.5 points. I'm still taking Ohio State.
I'll take the Ohio State in the points.
Here's an interesting one. Number 15, UCF, Central Florida. At Pitt. So this is two consecutive Power 5 conference games for UCF.
We disagree on this one. I don't think this is interesting at all. I think UCF's going to beat Pittsburgh, and I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't.
So you're favoring Pitt against a 12.5 point spread?
No, I'm favoring UCF.
Good. Okay, we're in the same boat.
No, I don't think.
I absolutely favor
I don't
UCF.
think there's anything interesting about it. I think UCF's just going to win. I think
They
they're going
kicked
to.
the
I'll
doors.
take UCF and the points.
Pitt gave it all they had on the road at Penn State last weekend, which was a sloppy but
And they still made a mistake.
good rivalry game right there.
They made
They made a mistake and they lost at the very end. I hear you.
But
I also don't think they're better than UCF
No,
outright.
they're absolutely not.
But 12.5 points? Yeah, give me 2 touchdowns.
I mean, I'm sick to death of hearing about UCF, but I mean,
Are you really? Why?
Yeah, just because they think they're the national title winners. the year
We were
that
just
play.
talking about respect.
I don't
and all
care.
these other teams.
I don't need to respect UCF. I don't care. I don't have to.
I don't respect some of their scheduling, but hey, back-to-back Power 5 conference games, including 2 years ago when they quote-unquote won the national championship. They played 0 Power 5 conference
Just
teams
join the
until they played.
ACC like all these other scrub teams.
I tell you what, I'd take UCF over Tennessee.
For sure. I'll take UCF over most of the teams in the ACC right now. I'd take them over Florida State right now.
I was about to say, why don't you drop the C out of UCF and just be UF? They could be the new Florida, right?
I mean, they really
It's in
could.
Orlando, which is a better city.
Listen, I'd love to watch UCF play Florida. I would love it because they would win.
I actually like Orlando It's a nice city. It's really fun. It's
really
easy.
busy.
It's accessible. Yeah, but it sprawls too, so you can get in and out kind of relatively easy. There's a lot of stuff to do. And you got the Golden Knights.
Doesn't it have more than didn't it have 3 airports? It's so big. Anyway, go ahead.
Good. I'm okay with it.
Who's next?
Better than Jacksonville. Better than Gainesville.
Slow up on Jacksonville. Slow up on Jacksonville.
Okay, that's personal opinion. Better than Tallahassee?
Well, and Jacksonville's really close to St. Augustine, which I love.
Well, there you have it.
Go ahead.
Who's St. Augustine's football team? That's what I thought.
They don't need one.
Meanwhile,
Flagler?
ACC play. Louisville at Florida State. Who can suck worse? Florida State's favored by 6.5.
Oh, man, that's just like watching Vandy play Kentucky. Oof.
I wish I had a quarter so I could just flip the coin.
Actually, that's like Vandy and Arkansas playing. Ugh.
I actually like to watch Vandy play, though. So that's a little...
Play Arkansas?
No, play period.
Oh, okay. That's fair. They got a good defense.
Louisville at Florida State, 6.5 to the Seminoles. Who you got?
I feel like Florida State's got to win this game.
Got to?
I think they have to. Because if they don't, I think Willie's gone. Doesn't he have 2 L's and a W just like his name?
Well, you can't spell Willie without a W and 2 L's.
That's lovely. And the alphabet has
Willie
as many
Taggart.
W's as Tennessee right now, so that's good too.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
go ahead. So, yeah, no, I think Florida State has got to win this game for Willie Taggart's sake. If they don't, I think Willie Taggart's going to be gone really soon. If he might be really gone soon anyway, but for
you
sure.
say
if he
really
loses to
soon, but
Louisville,
they're committed and they're not getting rid of him yet.
I think that's a huge mistake.
Okay.
But anyway, go ahead.
I think talking about Louisville at Florida State as long as we have is a bigger mistake.
If it was at Louisville, I'd be a lot more afraid for Florida State.
Good. I'm glad we're done. App State at UNC. Conference play. UNC is favored by 3 points.
I've got friends on both sides of this one.
Conference. That's nuts.
but I think-
that's not accurate.
I think I like App State. They've played fundamental football for years, and I just don't feel like North Carolina's doing that.
3 points. So you're picking App State to win.
I think so. Is it at UNC?
Yeah, and the way this season's going, and again, it's week
You know
4.
what I love about UNC?
Please.
I love the third down bell.
What?
They ring a bell on third down on defense. When they're on defense and it's third down, they ring
You
a
could
bell.
ring my bell.
It's cool. It's like boom, like it's third down. Look out, fools.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, I don't think it's quite as effective because North Carolina's not very good, but
When in doubt,
I like
right
it.
now, with a questionable team against North Carolina, to me, there is no doubt. I'm going to pick North Carolina until they lose. That's where I'm at. They're favored by 3. Just give me 3.
Sure.
That's a field goal. Okay, so now
and
we're
that-
just
and
saying
you get that for being at home.
North Carolina is going to beat App State, another in-state team at home. Okay, I'm okay with it. Hopefully, this is a lot of fun. I think that's Friday night as well. I can't remember. University of Kentucky is at Mississippi State, who just lost at home to Kansas State. New quarterback, rough.
I take
Bad
Kentucky.
mistakes. Okay.
I take Kentucky.
Kentucky
What's the
also
point? What's the spread?
new quarterback at Kentucky. It's 6.5 to Mississippi State.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I take Kentucky.
I'm going Mississippi State Bulldogs on this because I'm
I
sitting
know
in front of a Bulldog.
I know they're the Bulldogs, but they're not Georgia, so
Oh, they're better than Georgia.
No,
Moving right along.
They're not. They're not even the real Bulldogs. Anyway.
Just making sure you're paying attention.
Oh
And
no, you triggered me over here.
I was hoping you'd get a nosebleed, but you're tough. Good job. South Carolina at Mizzou. Mizzou's favored by 9.5.
I love this game.
Okay.
Like after the Georgia game, this is the game I want to watch this week because I really want to know which one of you two is going to step up.
The answer? Game.
Okay, so before the season,
Cox.
I would have said Mizzou.
For sure. We all would.
But now with Helinski, who's played very well against Alabama, and who was it they played? Charleston Southern. Yeah,
and North Carolina. Well, he didn't play in that game.
He didn't
but
play there.
yeah.
If he had, it might have been different. Anyway.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, did I say
You
that
say
out loud?
might.
Did I say that?
Almost certainly a win,
Oh,
though,
it-
right?
it
If he's in
definitely-
that game,
for sure.
I didn't even think
For
about
sure.
that until now.
Well,
oh my
look,
god!
and
Trigger,
South
trigger,
Carolina
trigger,
fans,
trigger.
look, I have not liked Bentley the entire time he's been your quarterback. I felt like he was inconsistent from the get-go, and I have completely told South Carolina fans who are totally delusional that he was not a good quarterback, and they would not listen. And I think I'm justified now when you see Ryan Helinski play.
My father gave me a magazine about Southeastern football in the season. You know, one of those sort of college.
But your
football
father also
magazines.
thinks Dan Mullen's a good coach, so
You finished.
I'm done.
There's some truth in that.
Go ahead. There's no truth in Dan Mullen's a good coach.
No,
There's
that he
truth.
believes that. That's
Oh,
all.
yeah,
His
yeah.
birthday's tomorrow, so have some respect. Roll
Happy
Tide.
birthday,
Happy birthday,
Mr.
Randy. Love you,
Thompson.
Pop. He gave me this magazine, and it's got Jake Bentley on the cover. When I say Jake Bentley on the cover, there's nothing else on the cover. You know, we've got Phil Steele, too, and that's got Trevor and Tua Tagovailoa.
And DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, is he on the cover?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. And I think who is it,
I
Justin
noticed.
Herbert or is it Shea Patterson?
I don't
think
care.
it's Patterson. My point is,
I looked at the Georgia guy. I don't care.
the lesson to be learned is to put at least more than one person
And they
on
said
your
they
cover.
had some girl with long blonde hair on there for Clemson. I don't know who she is.
It's Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, I thought it was a girl.
I wish it was Holly Rowe. I would put her on the cover of everything. I love Holly Rowe.
You just really like Holly Rowe.
She's a national treasure, Matt.
I'm just glad she survived
Everything she does-
her bout with cancer. I was really happy.
In all sincerity, yes, and she did a great job of it. She came here.
She's
I say
classy,
here.
man.
She came to Clemson, working with Dabo Swinney's wife. Long story short, what do they call it for tatas? Money for tatas? What do they call it?
Tigers for tatas?
Tigers for tatas. So tigers for titties, which is weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a great job. She did a great job. She's so passionate. Look, I get sincere inspiration from her because of how everything she does is gold. She doesn't have these hot takes. She doesn't get angry. Everything she does is about uplifting everything. When I say everything, I mean more than football, more than basketball. She's out there with the track and field. She's out there with the water boy. She's out there with the band. She does these interviews on the sideline where, thank God, they don't put her out there for every game anymore to deal with the rain.
Did you see when she and Maria Taylor went to Georgia and were messing around their facilities? Did you see those videos?
What did they call that? The row. What did they call that? It was a
don't know,
tour.
but
They
it
had a
was
hashtag
great.
for it.
It
Yes,
was
that was
so good.
I wanted to be there.
I know.
I was, I'm a photographer. I can do video. Call me, guys. Next time, was it the Taylor and Row? I can't remember what they called it.
Something like that.
I followed that the whole week. That was the week leading up to college football, right? So it was pre-week 0, and it warmed my heart from
I feel
top
like
to
Holly
bottom.
Rowe mixed with Maria Taylor is just golden. It's
They were at
just
Oregon.
magic.
They were at Oklahoma. They were at Alabama. They were at Clemson. Holly Rowe and Maria Taylor going down the slide at Clemson's practice facility together at the same time with a cell phone in their hand. They're doing it just like
And they're
us.
just giggling like girls.
No. Holly Rowe, I love this. Holly, I apologize. She said shit twice. And I just thought it was the best, most humble thing. She fell on her face cackling. And you can't watch Holly Rowe and not smile. I can't. I love her.
And
I love
Maria's
her to death.
back there just cracking up.
Maria,
good.
she does a really excellent job too. I think she's
great.
terrific. But I love Holly Rowe. Rowe
So who's
2020.
next on our...
I wish it was Holly Rowe.
We got Mr. Holly Rowe
by the
over
way,
here.
no. We got to make our pick real quick. I'm taking South Carolina over Missouri.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think...
Missouri's favored 9.5.
Is it at South Carolina or at
No, it's
Missouri?
at Mizzou.
Ooh.
Do you think that's going to change it?
Well, a little bit because they don't have the South Carolina crowd that they would have at South Carolina. But I still think South Carolina's going to win.
I enjoyed that crowd last weekend. by the
Although
way.
I think Missouri
loved
improved.
the hell out
A lot
of the
of people wrote Missouri off after they lost to Wyoming, but I think they're just in a learning curve right now with Kelly Bryant, and I think they're going to get better.
Admittedly, I was biased. I kind of liked Kelly Bryant more than I should have. And the more I've gone back and looked at that tape, for example, when Clemson lost in round 1 of the playoff 2 years ago with Kelly Bryant leading, and I think Alabama won by, 10 points total?
Yeah,
There were 2 really bad plays at really inopportune times that cost Clemson the game. The reality is that Kelly Bryant, they just didn't have a vertical passing game. And
Yeah, I
and
kind of wish
apologize
Clemson
'cause
won that game.
I was not objective. Stop it. My point is I wasn't objective about Kelly Bryant, and that team was very much complete in spite of his performance. I don't think he's as bad as a lot of people expected him to be or did become. And obviously Trevor Lawrence is that much better. I don't like the way he left. I'm talking too much about it. But I do think because of South Carolina's game plan that they're better than Missouri. At least Missouri might win this game, but 9.5, I'm not taking
South
their points.
Carolina's
No way.
going to probably take the number 2 spot in the East, I think. So.
Number 16, Oregon at Stanford. Oregon's favored by 10. Stanford's not a good football team, folks. And
They're
a lot of people don't
scrappy,
seem to know
though?
that.
I don't know.
They're not even that scrappy, to be honest. They're really not. And I don't mean to be rude. Stanford's not a good football team right now. That quarter system doesn't help them either. Maybe they'll get better through the rest of the year
But
like
I'm
they
not-
usually do.
I'm not sure Oregon is either.
I'm taking Oregon for 10, absolutely.
I mean, I think Oregon can win. I don't think they're that great either.
Okay.
I mean, they lost to Auburn. And they shouldn't have.
It
should
shouldn't have
not
even
have.
been close,
No, it shouldn't, but it was.
but they made some really bad mistakes
Right,
at the
but
worst possible times, and it cost them the game for Auburn going for it on 4th down and then to the end zone on 3rd. Auburn was going for broke. I love to see that. Auburn deserved and earned the win in spite of not being great.
I still think Stanford might be a little bit tighter than.
Oregon lost to Auburn. Oregon is a better team than Auburn. I'm saying it, and I think it's fair to say. And you don't believe me? Fine, but I'm taking the points.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
I'm saying it to anybody out there listening. Auburn's going to get destroyed by A&M this weekend, and Oregon's going to destroy Stanford on the road.
Okay.
Texas A&M, by the way, I think they're 9-1 against the spread at home. Sorry. Give me the Aggies. Go. Oklahoma State at Texas. Texas is favored by 6. Oklahoma State, prolific
only
offense.
6. Interesting.
So not a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean,
I know they beat you. I know they beat Georgia. It was the Sugar Bowl.
well, that's 2018. We're talking about 19. So, I mean, it's different every year. You don't know what
But
people
they
are
hurt
going to
you.
be.
They hurt you bad.
I don't
and
care.
people talked about it for months and months and months.
They
Usually
really
we
did.
don't do that for football games, but it's bowls.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It is
Okay.
what it is.
So
Now,
what do you got?
I think, based on the way they played LSU pretty well. I mean, they weren't perfect. I mean, they needed to be perfect to beat LSU, but they weren't.
LSU also had to convert on 3rd and 17 late in the fourth quarter to get in a position to win, and then Texas still was able to score another touchdown and kick an onside kick that they just happened to not get.
Yeah, I think Texas in this game is going to be the winner. I don't see them falling to Oklahoma State. I don't
6
see it.
points? I don't do locks of the week or anything like that, but here
I think that's too low.
I think Texas crushes Oklahoma
I think
State.
it needs to be like 12-point line.
This
at least.
should be a lot of fun. It
12, maybe
should
13.
be. Okay. I'm
I
more
don't know how
like,
people are betting. I
I'm
guess
going
people
3
are-
scores.
I guess people are betting it down. I don't know.
Okay. West Virginia at Kansas State. No, I'm sorry, at Kansas. The
Yeah.
Fighting Les Miles is.
See, West Virginia's what, a 3-point favorite in this, or 3.5?
So new coaches,
Yeah.
resurgent programs, I guess, because West Virginia was on the way down, and now we don't
Kansas
know.
has the Mad
Kansas was
Hatter.
already down. You couldn't get any lower.
Yeah.
And now they had a huge road win.
I don't. I know West Virginia's favorite. I don't like it. I like Kansas in this one.
Kansas with Les Miles broke my heart winning at Boston College last weekend. I did not expect that. However, oh my God, give me Les Miles all the time.
Oh yeah, I'll take Les Miles.
I'm
almost
loving
every day.
seeing this. I want him to win so that we see more Les Miles. I think he's so
I
good
hope,
for the
I
sport.
hope he eats a lot of grass.
He's not. I'm glad he's not my coach, but I love to see him
Yeah,
have
I don't want him
success.
as my head coach, but I love him in college football.
He said something like, I promised I can't do a Les Miles impression, so I won't try. But I promised the players that if we beat Boston College, we were going to go out and have a lot of fun. And we beat them really bad, but I think we got to make our plane ride. Something like that. Like, we got to go home, guys. Good for him. I'm going with Kansas all the way. I think that's pretty much it in terms of those teams. However, with that said, let's get back to Georgia and Notre Dame. We talked about it a little bit in the sense that if Notre Dame loses and Georgia beats a top 10 ranked Notre Dame, how far up do they climb?
I think they stay right where they are.
Because here's the thing. Alabama and Clemson both are playing home games against teams who are not Power 5, who a lot of people don't think are supposed to be competitive. And if they don't both beat the spread, which is likely because of who they're playing, both teams are legitimately more competitive than I think the spread shows. Georgia's going to get some first-place votes this weekend, Matt, and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with that. But I don't know how high they jump. I think they stay at number 3.
I think they stay 3.
And the honest truth is I think they're not number 3. I think they're probably number 2.
Now, if they did something crazy by winning by 5 or 6 touchdowns, then maybe they jump. But I don't see that. I don't see it being 5 or 6. That seems like a lot. If it's, but here's the thing. If they don't cover the spread, do they drop? Do they drop a point? Do they drop to 4?
If they don't cover the spread?
Yeah. If they're under 14, do you think they drop? I kind of think they do.
Well, you've
Because
got
they're
LSU at Vandy.
looking-
LSU's at number 4, so the LSU would have to jump them, right? Because
Right.
Ohio State's not going to do it. They're playing Miami of Ohio.
Right.
Who's number 5? It doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Yeah,
Oklahoma?
but
I
yeah,
don't know.
again, that's not. They're playing. Did we talk about Oklahoma? Who do they have this weekend?
I have no idea.
I don't care.
I think they're
Jalen.
off. I think that's why they weren't in the list.
Go get them, Jalen. I don't care. Have another win while you're in a bye week. I don't care. This is another thing about this year. It's a weird year because every team has 2 bye weeks.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to keep up with. It doesn't matter. Anything else you want to leave us with here, Matt? Good job today, by the way. This has been a lot of fun.
No, I think just really glad to be here at the venue. I think the King Tut Grill is a great place for this. I think it's a great place
It
to
is.
eat. It's owned by Georgia Bulldogs, so if you're a Georgia fan, this is a great place to come by and just say hello.
Indoors, outdoors, covered patio seatings. I'm talking cushioned patios
And they have a
outdoors.
sweet Cadillac Eldorado out front.
We're sitting next to the hand-painted. I say hand-painted. It's a spray-painted
I think
mural.
Gray's a little jealous of the mural.
I think it's fantastic. Oh yeah. Well, anytime anybody else gets to use spray paint, I'm jealous. Yeah, it's one of my favorite mediums.
Right.
Don't believe me, go to Color Gray Studio on Instagram and see what I can do. But I love it. I think it's great. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think
Definitely
going
to come back here.
Yeah, I think we've got it covered for this week, though. I mean, I think the guest picker is going to be Goldberg, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pull out Herschel because Herschel's the easy choice. But I think Goldberg would be the sexier pick.
Okay.
That's just kind of my last little thing.
I hate that you're going to miss game day in Athens.
I know.
What time is the game?
However,
Saturday?
I was in Florida last year. We had Game Day and SEC Nation both there, and that was pretty great. So
for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah, we can't call it that, but we're gonna.
We can. I love it. You're not going to that this year?
No,
again?
not this year. Next year, though.
Okay.
I think we're gonna try and do that next year together.
Stop having kids.
I think I'm gonna be done.
It's not really up to you, is it?
It's not really. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. So.
All right, y'all don't forget, go to iongreeville.net, do your college football pick'ems. I'm doing pretty good, but there's still plenty of room to beat me. Matt, please do that. Don't forget. Read FET Greenville Magazine, FETE, greenville.com every single week. Thank you very much to Jay Spive and everybody at FET. I love it. I love having this college football podcast. Thank you for being here, Matt. You've been listening to The Gray Zone. You've just been D-zoned. I don't know where I come up with this stuff, but roll tide. Go Tigers. Go Irish. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Thanks, Matt. See y'all.
Not red, not blue, not white, not green, just gray. Just gray.